Here's, I think, something that's very tragic that people in the Middle Ages, I assume, wouldn't have had to face. And they obviously lived much better lives as a result.
A better you starts today.
Especially the not having teeth and having huge boils on their face all the time. Well, you know, maybe it was hot back then. Who knows? You get an extra head to look at lunch. It's different. Hey, here's the rub that I think that we all have not got any experience with. I think we don't know because of the thing that you're doing right now, which is consuming on a screen. We don't know what it is like in a world where our brains haven't been exposed to that. I'll tell you one thing we do know for a fact, though. One thing for certain that we know. It has fundamentally changed what we are supposed to expect in life. Before, we'd be really happy if we went out to our job in the 50s and while we were gone, our wives were having an affair with the milkman. Because, you know, if it was going to be anyone, he's a good guy. He seems all right, doesn't he? Seems quite happy in my hazy memory of him in movies that aren't even from that era. And then you come home and then your wife would say, I have a headache, and wasn't, you know, that was just life, and it seemed pretty good. Ed Sullivan was on TV, sounded like shit, looked like shit. Good times. So, now that we are in the age where I am broadcasting far better than they are, and I am boring as crap, right? But everybody was watching Ed Sullivan at the time, and it was like, watch this 50-year-old man smoke a cigar. We don't really have that much planned this week. That was probably as entertaining and stimulating as it got. Now, everything has to be hyper entertaining and stimulating. It is so strange that this channel, which is mostly just me in a dumb costume, but like, let's talk about wanking. That's a lot of this channel. Still not that entertaining. It's really not that entertaining in this day and age. As a result of that, and also just the fact that you're always looking at all of these people that look exactly like Kim Kardashian but uglier, living in mad mansions, you sit there and you think, it's not fair, I don't have any of this, it creates all of the resentment. We all know that this is like a big part of the nibbling away psychology that is making everybody, you know, like pretty insufferable, including me, including you. Yeah? We're all becoming insufferable as a result of that because there is just this endless envy. People in India know what celebrities in Hollywood live like on a minute-to-minute basis because they're just vlogging around their house, just being like, and this is my second pet kangaroo. Yeah, go step it. So they sit there, and then you've got people in the ghetto in India being like, my God, I have a kangaroo. That is what's happening around the world. Here's my rub down of all of this, yeah? I think that what it has taken away is the idea that everybody has in their head, but nobody really executes anymore, which is that everybody just expects these results immediately from whatever they're doing. This is not how the world works. The reason that they are even in that position, even if you talk about nepotism for a second, and let's talk about nepo babies, because it is one of my favourite things to beat up on, like the rest of the internet, because it's just so easy, isn't it? You look, that rests on either their parents or their grandparents before them doing a lot of work. Somebody somewhere down the line was either very cunning, very intelligent, very brave. That's probably it. One of those three. One of those three. And obviously the fruits of their labour have been brought down the generations. So at some point, someone started out with nothing, and either it was expanded on generation after generation, or they're just a bunch of idiots and they're sitting around as it slowly depletes around them. But the point is that usually to get to that stage, work was done somewhere. And so we just see the immediate, because it's just like, it just immediately comes into our mind. You see a mansion, Will Smith, cap to his side. Yeah! Remember Fresh Prince? I don't like the new season. Yay! Like, that's, and so you sit there, you're just like, fucking Will Smith. That's what happens. That's what happens now. You just see the end result. You don't see anything else that happens before it. And so, I think that this kills a lot of people's dreams. Because they sit there and they think, oh, okay, well, that person has all of that. I don't have any of this. My life is just doomed and allotted to whatever position I am in. But now I'm just going to sit there and waste a lot of my extra time looking at Will Smith being like, you know, I'll shit on you because of the Chris Rock thing, but look, it didn't anger me that much. It's mostly just the fact that you've got a leather couch, all right? Like, that is mostly what's going to happen in your mind. Envy's well and good. Envy happens naturally. What doesn't happen so naturally is that the people that start the road of success, I always think that this is the way to think about it, right? This is the granular, this is the beginning, absolute beginning of any successful endeavor in life, right? Think about me now, yeah? I've got 2 channels. Obviously, they're not like the most successful YouTube channels on earth, but I think that they're very successful in other regards. Like, they're not extremely financially successful. They would be if you signed up to Jordan Shanks, where we go up to 3 extra videos a week, and I can give you a bunch of these tips on how to build these things and the things that you want in your life. And on top of that, not only that, you have somebody that is reminding. This is really what you're paying for. You are paying for somebody to sit there and remind you, because I know that you're not going to read the books that I'm reading every week, to remind you of these things. And every single person that ever does it, it's the same as when people get a life coach. It's the same as when people read self-help. You have no idea how many people comment to me. Sometimes when you do the call-in show, so many people ring up and they're just like, my life has completely changed as a result of this. And it's like, it's not me. Well, it is. I'll take credit for it. Sign up to Jordan Shanks and find out why. But on a granular level, if you want to know what is going to be the key to success in any field that you ever pursue, ever, it's the knowledge. We're talking like, you're going to expect that I'm going to say that it's action, right? You're going to say like, just start small. Yeah. But to motivate you into starting small, you have to start with the knowledge. Now it's time for the 80s phone to waggle at you. You have to understand that the core point before you get to the action is the understanding that it is not going to be the fancy mansion in Hollywood immediately. It will, through years of work, it will. But you need to understand that the key to getting yourself into that position is going to come from your ability to understand that what you start out with, and write this down, isn't going to be fancy, nor does it need to be. You know how Friendly Geordie started out? I've said this story 1,000 times. I'm going to say it again because I think that it is so important to remind people of this. The reason that a lot of people, when I started out, weren't doing what I was doing, there isn't an entire generation. There are a bunch of people that I hear on podcasts and actually say to me all the time that were just like, yeah, we were really influenced by Friendly Geordies while growing up in terms of humor and all that kind of stuff. The reason that they looked up to me is because when I was starting out, everybody just like, sat around, waited for the ABC like little beggars. Please, can we have a TV show? No, they wouldn't give any out. And, again, the Nepo babies. There you go, son. You get a piece of shit. It's just like, and then it just died and no one would care about it, right? And that was the general progression of it. So everybody would sit there and they'd say, oh, I can't put anything on the internet because it isn't filmed in a DXLR camera. They'd have all of these excuses. You know what I did? I got a Kmart camera for my birthday. I grew up poor, right? Like the Kmart camera cost like a couple of $100, but I just told everybody in my family, like, can you just chuck in for this? And I used that piece of shit camera to just start filming myself in the backyard. I had no one. I didn't even have money for a tripod when I started out. So weird to think about now. I'm getting flashbacks to the first few videos that I did, and they were arty and they were obviously terrible. But it doesn't matter because I put myself in the habit of making videos. I put myself in the habit of knowing that it was going to be a pile of shit. Now when I'm looking at it now, this is my second channel. I've got everything automated now. I've got all this expensive camera equipment around me. I've got staff. I've got an office. I've got a studio. I tour the country. I've been touring the country for like a decade. What? Do you think that any of that would have happened if I didn't take the plunge back then? Now you just see that and everybody just goes into their camera phone and it's completely acceptable and normal. It was not acceptable and normal when I started out. It was very weird to do that kind of shit. And I pushed through. Whatever dream that you have, you can do like a crap version of it now. And eventually it will become professionalized. Eventually it will. If you commit to it and you put the time into it, it will grow. So start with the crap. Start doing some lame things now. Do unfancy things. Understand that it's not going to be fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy. Anything that you start out is not going to be as good as it is 5 years from now. It's just not. Who cares? The fun part of watching anything, honestly, is when it grows. The reason that I'm very passionate about this channel is because it's going through that same process now. It's like I'm taking it seriously, well, more so. And as a result, there is energy going into it. I'm really excited about what's going to happen to it in the next 5 years. Before, it was kind of just this mental diary, and you can see what was happening to it now. But it is becoming more professionalized. And as a result, the views are going up steadily, obviously. There's probably way better ways to do what I'm doing, and I will uncover them one day. But now, this is where it is. And what you are seeing, and what's really interesting about YouTube, is that it is this evolutionary process. Now, obviously, you can find all the shortcuts that you like, but understand that where you are now, there is something that you can be doing. There is some basic, crappy version of what you are doing, and it is charming that you are starting there. And if you understand that, you spend a lot of time building your success in life, as opposed to sitting there envious of others. It's just how it rolls.